Gentlemen, a fantastic result. How do you sum that up in the context of this first leg and this final?
Listen, yes, it is a big result. We wanted to win tonight, we've done that. Now we need to recover, because we know it's going to be a huge game up there on Sunday. We know they'll come at us, they need to come at us, so there'll be gaps for us to go and exploit. We'll go and try and win the game again come Sunday.
Another goal for you. You had many other chances as well. How pleased were you with the way you played and the way the team provided you the chances?
Listen, I think overall, I think the team played really well. On another night, we probably scored more goals. I think Eilidh from my header's a good save. They've had a couple of great blocks in there. They threw their body in front of it. So, yes, it could have been more, but if we had a 2-2-0 at the start of the night, now we need to build on it come Sunday.
Scott, from your point of view, tell us about the man next to you and just what he provides to this team.
I think he just provides a constant goal threat, no matter how he's doing in the game. We can always count on him to put one in the back of the net, so we're pleased with that.
You've had a great mindset in each after first leg wins in the quarters and the semis. You have to keep that going now for the final and don't think the job's done already.
Yeah, look, we don't get ahead of ourselves, as you've seen the last two games. We know it's only 45 minutes. As the big man says, we're disappointed it's only 2-0 tonight, but we go up there with something to defend, and we're not going to sit in, we're going to go out and try and win the game again.
Plenty of confidence now, Brian, going into this second leg.
Listen, there's been confidence building for a number of months now. We keep using that word momentum. We've still got it. We've brought it into the game tonight. We've got a 2-0 victory, so we'll go up the road with momentum and hopefully go and try and get the tie done.
Well, you are the cinch man of the match. Scott, if you can hand over the award, please.
Thanks very much. Thanks very much, guys. Thank you.
A brilliant performance from Partick Thistle manager Kris Doolan joins us now. Kris, you said before the game you were confident you were going to take the game to Ross County, and you must be delighted with the performances of your players tonight.
Yeah, of course. I mean, look, we only play one way. That's what we tell the players. That's how I want us to play. We're not a team who will sit back and absorb pressure and hit in the counter. And we're a team who'll take the game by the scruff of the neck, and we'll go and play forward, ask the boys to pass forward, run forward, be positive. That's why you see our fullbacks go and join in so often, because they time it so well. But there's also triggers that allow them to know when to do it. But absolutely delighted with the performance and the result.
And when you've got players that have been performing at a high level and you come up against tougher opposition, you need them to perform again, and they all did tonight. And if we look at the first goal, Aidan Fitzpatrick, a young player who made his debut when you were still wearing the Partick Thistle shirt, he's come through the academy, and this is the kind of stuff that he can deliver. Yeah,
of course. I mean, I remember he was a 16-year-old and he was doing this exact same thing. You know, he's two-footed, he can go left and right. He's very, very difficult to play against. He's got that turn of pace. But, you know, that finish, he's been doing that umpteen times that I've seen him do it. He's such a gifted finisher, as well as, you know, a decent wide player or a very good wide player. He can finish, and he chops inside. As soon as he goes inside, I can see from behind him he's going to bend it in that far corner, and I'm delighted he finished it.
It looks as if sometimes, your forward players just play with freedom. Yeah,
well, we asked them to, but that comes as well for the defensive players being behind the ball. They have good shape behind the ball. They know their roles without the ball, and that allows our forward players to, you know, go and be expressive, expansive. They might end up in the different positions at time, but it's fine because we've got good shape behind the ball. So if we lose it, we can win it straight back, and it stops that counter-attack back through the middle of the pitch for us.
Where does the balance in terms of what you work on a day-to-day basis lie, in terms of that defensive side of the game and building from the back, but then that understanding that your forward players all have?
Yeah, well, we work in patterns of play, so those pictures, they've seen them all before. They've seen them before. Like I said, there's triggers to what they do. There's timing. Football to me is about timing. You know, there's no point running ahead of the ball way too early if you can't affect things. So our boys, if you watch the time that they come forward, they usually time their runs very, very well, and it gives the guy on the ball forward passes. And like I say, I ask them to play forward all the time. Play forward, run forward, think forward. That's the way I want the club to be.
When you talk about timing, I'm not sure there'll be many Brian Graham has hit so perfectly and sweetly in terms of a time. This one to put you 2-0, but a great time in the game as well, right before half time.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. And Brian's the one in the team who's got this in the locker. You know, he's done it again. He done it against Queen's Park in the second leg. He was leaning back from a corner, and he still manages to do the exact same finish. You know, it's difficult. It makes it look easy. It's certainly not easy.
It's because he jumps. He jumps to catch the ball and time it, so that he just needs to, you know, hook it with a side foot. Very controlled, but with power on it. But if he doesn't jump, if he doesn't read the cross, you're not getting that opportunity. It's such composure, and he's a guy that, you know, he walked off and compassed us, and he was scoring goals. He brings so much to the team in terms of his work rate, his hold-up play, and he goes and earns his chances. that's a chance out of nothing. That's reading where the cross is going and showing that composure to go meet it and put it into the back of the net. It's so composed. And that's why they keep going. They're relentless. They want to score goals, and they do have a solid structure behind them. Your goals against is phenomenal.
Yeah, and I think that's to do. The best form of defence for us is attack. We put teams under so much pressure going back the way that they then can't hit us on the counter because they've not got the legs to do it. We understand that if you step up a level, pace is the one that can hurt you. But effectively, if we've got a good shape behind the ball, it allows us, even if our forward players lose it, they lose it in the knowledge that there's guys behind them straight in there to win it back.
Sorry,
I know, as I said, the forward players always come away with the glory and everything, but Ross Dockett, what a job he does in the middle of that pitch.
I think everybody that plays in there, Kyle Turner, as you say, we've dropped him back. He's more of an attacking midfielder. We've dropped him back, which allows Tiffoney to play in that role. And Stuart Bannigan, between the three of them, they do such a power of work as well. Their numbers in terms of distance, in terms of high-speed running, is incredible. But you need guys like that in the middle of the pitch, as you said, to allow your wide players to have a freedom. You need somebody in that engine room who's got legs, who can control the game, and that's what Docherty, that's what Bannigan, that's what Turner do for us, and it allows our forward players that wee bit more freedom.
These are high-pressure games. You've had 4 of them into tonight, then up against top-flight opposition, which you've comfortably come through. Obviously, one more leg to go, but there doesn't seem to be a fear amongst your team, and that obviously helps when you're winning games and the confidence is high. But like you say, the confidence to get on the ball, there's not that fear to perhaps lose it because you've got confidence in the guys around you. How do you build that over what has been a relatively short period of time for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the message has always been the same. We've had consistency. We've had consistency in the messages we give to the players, the type of information, those patterns of play, there's consistency. So the more times you see the pictures as a footballer, the better decisions you make on the pitch. So if you only see them once every now and again, you'll probably pick the wrong option. To me, we show them as many different options as we can, as many different pictures, so that when they see it on the pitch, it's not out of the norm for them. And to be honest, like I said, those patterns of play, I could turn away at times because I know the runs that they're going to make. But the time, again, they have to execute that. That's fine putting it in training, but when you get into a game, in a high pressure game, sometimes teams don't rise to it. We've got players who have been through these type of games before, played in the Premiership, played top end of the Championship, and won't buckle under the pressure.
There's one more game to go, 90 minutes between Partick Thistle returning to the top flight or not. What do you do to try and make sure nothing changes between now and Sunday and preparation remains the same? Because as much as there's been high pressure games, the players will know now, like, it's almost there.
Yeah, it's almost there. They know they've still got to win another game. And the message that we've had a mentality where we know we have to win every game. We don't play to draw, we don't play to hang into a game to take it to the next leg. We play to win, and we'll go to Dingwall, we'll aim to win. We won't sit back. We know what to expect. We know how the game's going to pan out, especially up there. But effectively for us, our game plan won't change. We know if we win the game, we're in the Premiership.
Yeah, and it'd be brilliant to see Partick Thistle back in the top flight. But for Malky Mackay, he knows what to expect when Kris and his team go up there on Sunday. They might need to change something. Yeah,
I think they will, because as Kris has said before the game, for weeks and weeks, and he's saying it now, they don't change how they play. They play the same way, and it's not that it's predictable because, before the game we highlight Lawless and Jack McMillan. It's because you talk about triggers. They will take the ball. Stevie Lawless, when he picks the ball up, attracts players towards him. He attracts defenders towards him. He always wants to go on the left, and he'll fake, but those little feints allow the players to go and move into space. Jack McMillan either goes outside them or inside them. Kyle Turner comes over. Tiffoney comes over. You've got Brian Graham to hit. So it's not predictable. They work on it, and the players understand the patterns of play. But it's hard to set up against. I think that Ross County will have to change because no shots on target. I know they get down to 10 men early in the game, but Partick Thistle were already in the lead. It's going to be an extremely tough game for Ross County. They need to show a reaction because I watched Partick Thistle play Ayr United here. They get a good, comfortable win, and it's not a case of go and shut up shop and see it out. It's we want to go and score more goals. So it's a tough game for Partick Thistle, but they'll play the same way. It's a tough game for Ross County. They've got the Premiership status at stake, and I said it before the game, they've got everything to lose. Yeah, well, it's certainly exciting for us neutrals. I'm sure you'll enjoy it as well, Kris, and you've given the supporters here certainly a very special night tonight. Congratulations on the... I mean, if you'd offered us 2-0 before the game, we would have taken your hand off for it. Any kind of lead you take into the second leg of any playoff game is valuable.
But you know, it won't change our approach. It won't change the way we go about the game up in Dingwall. We went in every playoff game with the same mentality that we play to win, we want to win. We're not a team who will sit back, absorb pressure, try and hit in the counter-attack. We're a team who will set up to go and be in the front foot from the minute we kick off. That won't change in Dingwall. We'll take a big crowd again with us, as we always do, and everybody will go up there confident but not overconfident. You know, we know that there's still 90 minutes that we have to get through. We know it's going to be a really tough game in Dingwall, but to us, you know, any kind of lead you can take up there is valuable.
Yes, listen, obviously we came out the blocks, young Ian Fitzpatrick, I think he's a huge talent, the young man. You're now seeing the benefits of him, now he's getting a good run in the team. I see it day in, day out, and I'm just absolutely delighted for a young kid to go and get a goal in a huge game like this. So now it's about recovery. Recovery starts now, it's a quick turnaround, come Sunday we'll be ready to go. Listen, I know a couple of the guys in the Ross County squad. Ross County were a big part of my life, so I know what they're all about. They've got good guys. Their assistant manager, Don Cowie's one of the best guys you're going to meet in football. So we knew it would be a difficult tie. We knew that we'd come here with a game plan. Listen, the sender off maybe changes the game a little bit. So we come Sunday, it'll be different again.
Let's talk about the sending off. Obviously a huge moment in the match. VAR, of course, with us in terms of the Premiership playoff final. And well, no question about the decision here, Leanne.
No question. When we've seen it in first viewing, it certainly looked debatable when the yellow card came out. And then having VAR, you know it's going to be something that's looked at again. But what I would need to say in the build-up to it is a common theme throughout Ross County's performance, and it's so reactive. Everything that we've seen thus far, the 2 goals that they've conceded, the problems that Partick Thistle caused for them. Yes, a lot of it's down to the way that Partick Thistle played, and I mentioned the aggressive nature and the way that they press and the numbers that they throw forward. And I'm sure if Doolan Smith was to see this back again and have a second bite at it, he would probably make a different type of decision. But it just comes from that reactive ball watching as a defensive backline. They don't adjust, they don't get good distances between, and as the ball breaks, he's left with that almost last-minute decision to make. But there was no doubt, absolutely, it's a red card.
It seems incredible, Richard, that, you know, such a huge match with such intensity. As a 16-year-old defender, and it could be such a huge moment in this tie.
Yeah, I mean, he's played in the games before and done really well.
Yeah.
Played against Celtic, I believe, and it was very good.
That's true.
But you've got Keith Watson on the bench. And, you know, in these games, I almost think it's unfair on a 16-year-old to put him into this pressure cooker. You know, he's obviously made a mistake there, but I think he can be helped out by his defenders. I think Harmon is the wing-back. Now, as soon as Smith runs towards the ball, Harmon has got to sprint to get back in to cover him. Now, he might never get there. But if he's close enough, the referee might stick with his yellow card, because he could argue that he's on the cover, especially if he's running at full pelt, because he can obviously cover a lot of distance. But he doesn't even move. He doesn't react. So it's Leanne's right. It's reactive from all of the defenders, and then Harmon doesn't react, and that, you know, hangs young Doolan Smith out to dry, and he gets a red card. But, you know, hopefully he's not too upset, because he's 16. He's playing in the Premiership. He's got a huge future ahead of him. But you hope this doesn't dent his confidence too much.
Yeah, disappointing night for him. So much to be critical of tonight in terms of the Ross County performance. But to their credit, down to 10 men, everybody put their bodies on the line.
Yeah, I think there was a change, especially second half. They didn't offer much in terms of going forward. But you see here, Keith Watson gives the ball away. But this is the kind of thing that why you have him on the pitch from the start of the game for me. Loves defending, loves getting tight to players, loves blocking the ball, tackling. You know, here again, fantastic play from Tiffoney and Brian Graham, but I think it's Randall this time. And Brian just takes a little bit too long. Another fantastic block, and that's what it's going to take. And then you see Jordan White doing the interview there, and he's got a huge gash in his head. That's what it's going to take. It's not going to take guys turning their head away from the ball because they don't want to be kicked in the face.
Yeah.
They need to put their body on the line. It's going to be tough for them, but 2-0 is that horrible scoreline, isn't it, where you kind of almost think you're safe. But if County score first, then it's all to play for.
It was a horrible gash that he got in his head against Kilmarnock. Played, obviously, tonight. Ross Laidlaw deserves mention as well, Leanne, because sometimes the fine margins, well, they're the margins that count.
Absolutely, and I think that's what you're alluding to with regards to a 2-0 scoreline as well. You would always say, I think, in any dressing room that the next goal is vitally important at 2-0, and it's really important that you get it. And this could quite be, you know, a turning point. Yeah. A couple of saves that he makes in the second half. Really instinctive, but his body positioning here is good. He reads the flight and the delivery of the ball.
and Brian Graham will be scratching his head as to how he didn't grab a second, but it was a point blank range save, and he does really, really well. And that theme kind of continued throughout the half as well, as Partick Thistle looked to try and get that all-important third goal where it could be, because you know, Richard, as well, as soon as you get that goal, whether you score the third goal,